When you light up, yeah, lights all over me.
Hey, we back. We back on another Sunday of the Transition Talk Show. Man, today gonna be a real interesting show. I have a person, man, who I've been close to for a long time. I've been able to see him make it from his beginning into the law firms, into the legal system rather, until even being able to run for positions within the district, and still be able to come out here and help a lot of people. Calvin D. Johnson, man, what's going on, man?
Man, not much, man. Hey, it's just a pleasure to be on your show, and it was a pleasure to be part of your journey to getting you where you are today. And like I said, believe it or not, you taught me some things. So it's just one of those things, man. I'm blessed, man. South Dallas, Dixon Circle, Bonton, Turner Course, and Dixon Circle. So I lived in both places. So God has been good to me to put me here.
I mean, and it's crazy, man, because like I was telling you, this show right here a little bit different, because you're a person, man, who, man, like with friends and things, family members and stuff, you know things that other people don't know. You know what I mean? Like I had to really put a different trust in you.
Yeah.
When it came down, to what was best for my life.
Yeah.
I had to be like, honest in places that, in most places I ain't care to be, but for the benefit of myself, and then to be able to be here on the flip side of it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I was telling you, some people don't even get to make it, to a second chance. And then for me, people don't get that third and fourth chance like that,
But you know what I'll tell you, just watching you, you were able to get up off the ground when things were hard for you. And one of the things that I try to tell people daily in my life is I fix people's problems, or if I can't completely fix their problems, I try to give them an outlook to what's next, that you can get up off the ground, that you can do something better. And especially coming from our communities, in the past, maybe we didn't have the strongest legal representation in the courthouse. People didn't look at us as people. You'd be surprised at how some of the people talk about us behind closed doors. And I'm sitting with them and they're talking, and they don't realize that I'm from the same place y'all from.
Yep.
And so it gave me a perspective of a lot of them don't really care about what happens to you. And I try to care about what happens to my clients, because my clients are part of the community. And whether they're doing good or doing bad, what they're doing bad at the time, they're going to be eventually going to be able to do some good things. And I'm going to be part of their journey to try to help them get to the other side.
Right.
And that's just kind of who I am, and that's what I'm made of.
When you went into law, man, did you actually ever think or or was it something that you naturally did purposely to be a defense for South Dallas, or for people in South Dallas to naturally just know Calvin Johnson?
Well, I knew in the beginning a couple of things, and we talked about the basketball stuff initially. Basketball gave me some focus. It allowed me to meet Larry Johnson, who I grew up with. It allowed me to play for Coach Leonard Bishop in high school, Coach David Harrison at Howard Payne University. It allowed me to meet Farron Douglas, who now coaches at Lancaster High School. And it allowed me to be around Chris Bosh eventually, because Bishop and Farron Douglas, my college teammate, ended up coaching Chris Bosh in high school. And I ended up being around him and being one of his attorneys at the draft. But I knew early that I wanted to play basketball mainly, and if I couldn't make it as a basketball player, because that's a 1 in a million shot, I knew I was going to be a lawyer. I've been knowing I was going to be a lawyer since I was like 7 years old. And I try to tell people, they go like, what? I was like, I knew it. And some people go like, well, I was going to try this, but I didn't make it. And I was like, man, me not making it wasn't an option.
Yeah.
It wasn't an option. Like, I had to do this. I had to do this or I was going to go crazy.
Yeah.
It's just how I looked at it.
And it's crazy that you say that, because it was like I was telling you, I had always been a person who was a big dreamer, but I was always able to capture that dream. Like, being raised in the projects, both projects, Rose Series and had to go over to Southdale. I was, you know, in the mix both ways. You know, going through spaces to where, you know, you're not with your parents, you're with other people in your family, a whole bunch of different stuff. But football was an outlet. You know, when I was getting in so much trouble, you know, for fighting all the time, and I'm always getting expelled, and now looking at, you know, juvenile and all this type of stuff. Football gave me an outlet to be able to be as aggressive as I wanted to be.
Yeah.
It allowed me to be as angry as I wanted to be.
Exactly.
You know, but it gave me a goal to say, this my out route.
Yeah.
So for me, that would allow me really to be able to say, I can achieve dreams. The problem had came that no one ever taught how to live in the dream or work in the dream. So as soon as those same storms or trials or struggles come, you know what I mean, that was before the dream came, you thought that was over with.
Yeah.
Nah, it wasn't. So you wind up falling out of the dream.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, I had to learn after constant dreaming and constant dream catching.
Yeah.
To say, man, what are you going wrong at? What are you doing wrong? You know.
And you know what you're talking about, man? It's funny. What you and I talk about is being there for our children and being there for the young people. And even though I had my grandmother and my grandfather were very big in my life, of course my mother too, but she worked all the time. My stepdad did what he could do for me. But you're going to have dysfunction even in that relationship. But my grandfather was just a stand-up dude, and he was that man in my life who kept me straight. However, he couldn't spend that personal time with me. I just learned by watching him. We're working so hard, working all the time. But in those times, and it's funny that you say that, so what you're saying is having that male figure constantly being able to pick you up and say, hey, young blood, go here, go there. We didn't have that.
We didn't have it.
We didn't have it at all. So when you take that first punch, ain't nobody there to tell you to get up. Ain't nobody there to tell you to take it off. And you wondering when you take the first punch, am I built for it?
Yeah.
And we have to find out the hard way. And sometimes it takes us a little longer to get up. Yeah. But that's what you're really explaining is that what we are doing now is making sure that we're there for our young people, that they have somebody to come to, that they have somebody to talk to about when they make the mistake or they have the success. Because some people think it's over when you have the success. No, it's just starting.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's when it get real hard.
For sure, you know. And sometimes, you know, you're not even built. You built for it, but you don't know that you're built for that success. You know what I mean? Like I say, you're naturally taught to dream, and you will see those dreams because you're naturally taught that.
Yeah.
But now it's about, you know what I mean, having those things to carry us over and take us truly into it, and that still come with guidance.
Yeah.
You know, and so like for me, a person, man, who like, you know, I ain't too much take no listenings from nobody. You know what I mean?
I know.
But you was a person who taught me how to listen. I had to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't talk for myself.
Yeah.
Even if I wanted to, I couldn't talk for myself.
But you made the smart move. Some people won't do that. And really, I tell you, there was a couple of people in my life, man, it's crazy. There was a guy named Aloysius Arbor named Clean. They just call him Clean. And he was a very smart guy, but he started selling drugs when he was younger. His family's house burned down. And I remember him pulling me to the side one day because he saw me, like, struggling. Like, it was hot outside. I was walking home from Lincoln one day, man, and I was tired. And everybody was passing me up, but they got their cars with their datings on it and their money and their jewelry, man. It's hot outside. It's like 100 degrees. Man, he picked me up. He said, "Young blood, get in the car." So I got in the car. He said, "Man, let's talk, man." He said, "Man, I see you struggling. I see what you're thinking about." I said, "Man, don't do it." He said, "Man, look, don't do what I'm doing, whatever you're doing there." He said, "I'm smart, but they're going to even catch me one day." He said, "Man, you're going to be right. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're a smart guy. Stay in school. Keep doing what you're doing." And he saw me a couple of more times. He pulled me to the side. He told me those things a couple of more times. And I looked up to him because I understood that he was a smart guy. And he said, eventually, they're going to even catch me too. That told me something. I was like, man, he can't get away with it. I can't get away with it. Yeah. So I might as well just go on and keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah. But it's those times and those things, and it's just like, you're right, man. I didn't like to listen to people, but man, when he pulled me to the side, man, my ears perked up because I looked up to him. I paid attention because he was shining like that. But he told me, he said, "Stay away from it, young blood. Keep doing what you're doing." Yeah. And I appreciated it.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it took for me really, you know what I mean, to actually go through those things, to listen and actually see the outcome that was spoke happen. You know, because when you go through so much distorted figures and you go through so much broken images, it's hard to begin to build back up that trust in something, especially when it comes down to your life. But that's like what actually began to take me, over. That what began to lead me down a different road, because I began to start to incline myself to others. You know what I mean? I began to start to, not trying to bump my head the whole way through. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, hey, it's some mowed grass somewhere, and I need to take you know what I mean,
I
some
tell
examples.
You, man, you make me laugh because I remember, man. It's funny. Don't want to bump your head, man. And I always people, because I work, of course, with the rapper 7 the Great, and people say, man, how y'all, man? We go way back.
Yeah.
And I would call when he worked at Larry Johnson Center. I would pick him up when I was in college. I come home, I pick him. I said, get in the truck, let's go, let's talk. He said, damn, here he come again. I said, yeah, I finna talk to you, because I knew he was listening. And so I said, man, look, this is the deal. The street ain't working, man. It don't work. I had somebody tell me this, and now I'm passing it on to you. The street's not gonna work. These guys out here, they may have some money now, man. I want you to stay away from it. I said, they bump their head. They're bumping their head for you. Why should you go bump your head? And they've already bumped their head. Yeah. Don't bump their head the same way they bumping their head. That's dumb. You wasting time. I was like, look, go do something else. The street, stay out of the street.
Yeah.
And I talked to him like that because I had somebody tell me that. And of course, growing up in Dixon Circle and growing up in other parts of South Dallas, it's a beautiful thing to watch people. Unfortunately, watch people bump their head, but I owe it to a lot of people, man, because I paid attention. It's about paying attention too. You got to pay attention.
I commend you for that, because I know for me, and even when you said that, it was like a quick flash on the example that I was being to my peers, and then to my relatives, my siblings. You know what I mean? And even 7 being one of them. I never even just really looked at that until you just said that, because good words and things and inspiring and pushing didn't happen until I found myself in a better space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when I was in that darkened space, man, that was my offering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's good to even be able to hear that you was even doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we wasn't.
And you know what the deal is? I can tell you about South Dallas at that time. We were competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say competitive, everybody wanted to be the man. Everybody wanted to make as much money as they can, even on their own block. Even in Dixon, even though we had love for each other in the community, those guys competed against each other. Me and one of the OGs over there was talking, and I said, even y'all were in competition with each other, and everybody wanted to be the man, and there was not a lot of what you just said, pulling people to the side and imparting that knowledge and leading, truly leading. People led by having money and driving cars and having the biggest bag and having the most women and the most jewelry and the most money, but that wasn't really leading. That was just leading everybody to destruction eventually. And so what we eventually found out is that we needed to do something different, you and I, and that's what we're doing right now. You're heavy in the community. I'm heavy in the community. I ran for city council a couple of times, and I've learned a lot about that. And when I say I heard a lot about that, man, I truly have a good heart for the community. Like, I can't come home and stir everybody in their face and be selling the community out. And for years and years and years, our political leaders have sold us out. And I'm just not going to ever be that dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell out. I stand on who I am, because South Dallas, in my community, it taught me to be loyal. And that's one thing that I have. And that's one thing that I know you are, Train. That's why I'm doing your show, because you're loyal to the people that are around you, the people in your circle of influence. And regardless of what you were doing right or doing wrong, you still were loyal. And that's inquiring.
I'm going to show you something, man. I'm going to really tell you what made me step away from just really running the streets, right? I had to ask myself the most real question. How can you be a good person in a crooked game? I asked, I had to be real with myself. How can you be who you really are in a game that'll never let you be that?
You just taught me something.
I'm dead serious.
Yeah, you just taught me something, for real.
And who I actually, understood for me to be, and this stuff, man, people don't even know. You know what I mean? This is in your own personal, closet. Man, I still have my my yearbook, not a yearbook, but when you graduate, the little book you put together, right? And you have people writing in it and saying little things about you, or whatever like that. And I got a small little piece in there, where a female had wrote up in there, you're a good person to always come and talk to. One day you're gonna be a counselor or something.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I realized that, man, I always genuinely wanted to help because I was in situations where I felt like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was too small or too young, too weak to
Yeah.
be able to help. And I didn't really understand how, so I had to go through so much, you know what I mean, different moldings in order to be able to get to this point right here.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
So
100%.
it's like, man, for me, I had to go through a lot to really see the true understanding of who I was. I had to get to these spaces to where you can be able to do what you're doing, because you got to have a loving heart, an open heart. You have to be a person of humility.
Yeah.
The only way you develop that is that you've been through something.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
And if you go through enough, you'll be able to give a whole lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
yeah.
And it's funny how when I said you just taught me something, you know, how can you be a good person in a crooked game? And, you know, when I ran for office those couple of times, I just saw some things and I was just like, man. And, you know, I'm not going to run again right now. I don't know if I ever run again, but who knows? It just depends on what God has for me. But I had to ask myself that question. I said, I'm doing this because I have good intentions. My heart is good. I actually had somebody tell me, "You too honest." When I was running for office, I said, "You too honest." And I was like, that's just who I am. Like, you know, my grandmother's name, Mary Johnson, David Johnson, my grandmother and grandfather, they raised me to stand on who I was and as a man. They raised me in the church. I stand on God because God has protected me and helped me get to where I'm at right now. Yep. So I just can't be that other person. I can't be fake. I can't be faulty. I just can't. You know, yep. I tell people, they start laughing at me. They go, I said, it's hard to be solid in a world full of Jell-O. And then somebody told me, they said, I was just trying to say sucker free in a world full of lollipops. And I said, dang. Yeah. I said, that's deep. And when people say stuff to me like that, I hold on to it. And I go like, he's making sense. Like when you truly are and you truly realize you are different and you were meant for something else, it's not to say you're better than anybody else, but it's just to say, look, you know what your purpose is. And so you need to be that. Yeah. And you have to get up off your feet. And there's a lot of people looking at us, man. Like there are a lot of people watching you. There are a lot of people watching me. You know, even when I ran and I lost twice, they was like, hey, man, bro, just keep going. Like they're like, man, you inspire me, man. You inspire me. And I remember I spoke to a group of young folk, and this young cat came up and talked to me afterwards, man. He was just so excited. He was like, sir, can I have a minute of your time? And he was excited. And I was like, man, you don't realize who you're affecting. When there are people watching you that you have no idea that are watching you.
And it wasn't even like it was something that you was planning. It was just something that was just innately for you to do. Yeah. You know, and that's the crazy part. I'm just doing what I see fit built to me to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we're finna go to a quick video, and then we're gonna come right back with Calvin Johnson.
It's been 2 years, man. God, time to bring it on in. How you get to this point, bro?
I remember yesterday, way back in grade school when I ain't have shit. Not like the mother dudes. See, they were wearing MJs. I was wearing Payless shoe and I ain't like my mom. Why? Cause she didn't dress me cool, but it ain't her fault though. I blame my granny them on that Tyler Perry shit. The haves and the have-nots, and I was on that other side. Seeing that they had a lot while we out here struggling, and we just stay round the block. Saw my granny smiling with a gold up in her mouth, and mama had a cap door, a silver tooth in her mouth. I said, this is how I fucked up. Say, this is how I fucked up. I fucked up. Say, this is how I fucked up. It's so dope. Went to church on Sunday, but Monday I'm still broke. This is how I fucked up and wanted more. You say you were my family, but you left a nigga broke, man. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. This is how I fucked up and so dope. Went to church on Sunday, but Monday I'm still broke. This is how I fucked every days and lonely nights. And I ain't stay with mama at the time I couldn't fight. Uncle didn't like me, did a lot of brutal things. So I went outside, fuck it, gone, let me gang bang. Cause they getting beat silly, make a nigga go insane. Thank God for my granny, cause she always tried to explain. Hard head nigga still going out there and slaying. Gang and I ain't know my daddy, but she say act just the same. Always about $1, guess her husband just be in my vein. Rags to the riches, the Evans and the projects may say this is how I fucked up. Yeah, this is how I fucked up. Yeah. Say this is how I fucked up. It's so dope. Went to church on Sunday, but Monday I'm still broke. This is how I fucked up and wanted more. You say you were my family, but you left a nigga broke, man. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. This is how I fucked up and so dope. Went to church on Sunday, but Monday I'm still broke. This is how I fucked up. Candies up on they ride. Some rolling on chrome, other rolling on wires. While I'm sitting at the bus stop, watch them pass by. Daddy passed through, Mr. 745. A nigga had it all, but the son he denied. Left a nigga in the jungle, guess it taught me how to survive. When my mama put me out, cause of rules I couldn't abide. Never thought she would've did it, but I guess I was alive. Heart turned to stone, cause I been through a lot. So I turned to the stone with a pocket full of rock. Where I grew up as a kid, Rutledge was the block. And the fact I lost my son, man, I've been through a lot. 3 times up in the pen, man, it's all that I got. 2 shots up in my body, man, them slugs feel hot. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. Say this is how I fucked up. It's so dope. Went to church on Sunday, but Monday I'm still broke. This is how I fucked up and wanted more. You say you were my family, but you left a nigga broke, man. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. This is how I fucked up. I fucked up. This is how I fucked up and so dope. Went to church on Sunday, but Monday I'm still broke. This is how I fucked up.
When you light up, yeah, lights all over you.
All the time, man.
We back.
Being raised in South Dallas.
Yeah, man. We back, man, with Calvin D. Johnson. We was just laughing, man, talking about the video and everything like that. Cause that's a video that really had a lot of truth to it. You know
Hey,
what I
man.
mean?
Real life.
Yeah.
Real life stuff, man. I try to tell people, man. And I go to the courthouse, man, and sometimes I talk to folks, and I was like, man, y'all don't have any idea. It's like, I tell them folks, I say, I don't care, man. I come from a neighborhood. Man, I seen somebody get stomped to death when I was like 11, 12 years old. I seen a guy get stabbed and bleed out on the concrete.
Yeah.
I seen somebody get shot before. And this all before I was 16 years old. That's what I was seeing. That's what I saw. And it gave me a perspective on life of really understanding where I was, man. Like, it gave me like a sixth sense. I felt like I could tell when something was finna happen.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. This feeling would come over me. And I'd be like, wait a minute. And people would be like, what's wrong with this man? I'm finna go.
Yeah.
It's like I had a sixth sense.
Man, but to get on it, man, and to get back to it about you. And man, being, you know what I mean, attorney out of South Dallas, you know, and to be able to know that you have helped so many families and lives in South Dallas, you know what I mean? It can be something that you do for accolades.
Yeah.
So, like, really, what has it done for you? You know what I mean? To know how you have really, you know what I mean, being a pillar for people, you know, to be able to have justice on their side.
Well, when I see somebody like yourself, and I'm not doing this because I'm just on your show, because we all need a little help. We all need a push. We all need to have somebody help us transition. And, you know, the TRAINsition Talk Show, it's funny, that's the name of your show. It's the transition of going from the streets to legitimate. It's a transition of coming from a boy to being a man. It's a transition from being a hindrance to a community to being a help to the community. Yeah. And I've always had that in me. And what it does for me, first of all, you know, God put me in this position. And he kept blessing me. Like, people don't understand. Like, I always tell the story about the NBA draft. Remember I told you when I had to quit playing basketball, how much it hurt. Like, I was like, I can't hoop no more. I'm not enjoying it. I don't like the coach. I'm down here in Brownwood, Texas. I don't like this little country town. I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I'm homesick. And I had spent a lot of time dealing with basketball. I was like, well, I watched Larry Johnson go to an NBA draft. And I was like, I'll never go to the draft. I'll never play pro basketball. I'll never play basketball anymore. And it was hard for me to deal with that. And when I said I'll never go to the NBA draft, you know, I was like, okay, well, I won't. And so as I went through college and law school and eventually finished, and God knows I went through hell just to get to that point, I come out, meet this lady, look at some paperwork for her, didn't know who she was, volunteered, didn't charge her any money, and here I go, having a good heart. She said, you ought to go see my son play. I was like, who your son? Oh, he Chris Bosh, he played up in Lincoln. And this was when Chris Bosh was in high school. I was like, oh, really? I said, cool. I said, my high school coach is in, my college teammate is assistant coach, Coach Doug. Oh, you know both of them? And at that point, me and Frida Bosh got a good relationship. And she actually worked for me for a while. And then Chris went off to Georgia. They went 40-0, won a state championship. Chris Bosh went down there and killed Kendrick Perkins in the state championship game. Totally destroyed him. Went to Georgia Tech with Chris's dad to visit him one weekend, NBA All-Star weekend down there in Atlanta. And this is when Chris was in college, and all them people were wanting him. And I told her, I said, Frida, I said, he can't come back to school. He got to go pro. And he ended up going to the draft, and I was one of the people that they invited to come with him.
Yeah.
And so as I was down there, I didn't realize it till I was there. I was like,
you living your dream.
I was like, God. I said, God, you're something else.
Yeah.
I said, I thought I wasn't going to the NBA draft. And he's like, yeah, you going. You're just not going the way you think you're going, but you're still going. And it's one of those things where I try to tell people, man, my faith ain't fake, man. I give it to the Most High because God has given me. He's given me my dreams. He's given me my desires.
Yeah.
And so when he gave me that, I was like, I was just amazed, bro.
Yeah.
Because I said I wasn't going to go, and God was like, yeah, you still going.
Mm-hmm.
Just follow me.
and
that's what that's about.
That's one of the craziest things is like, that's even something that I, you know, for myself, I had to learn, you know, have better examples. It don't make a difference on what they doing, you know what I mean? So long as what they doing is showing you, you know, that it has longevity in it, you know. And, man, I'm telling you, you're one of them people that I was able to always, if I call, it's getting answered. You know what I mean? If I'm in a bind, if my family in a bind, you know what I mean, you own it. It's quick, you know. So it's like to have that, it gave me something, you know, to be able to breathe off of. Yeah. You know, to breathe different than what I knew. But then because I knew I was in transition phases. Yeah. And I knew that it looked totally different from what, you know what I mean, anybody was accustomed from me. It was just like music. But you know what? I always tell people, and some people ask me, why you do it and why you keep doing this, a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, and what do you gain from it? I said, my people in South Dallas are my family. I said, you don't understand, like, when I went to college, I didn't go to colleges that had fraternities and sororities at it. I always wanted to, you know, go Alpha, and I might still do it as a graduate chapter person. But I didn't get to join a fraternity. I didn't have time. I didn't have the money. Like, I was working. I was trying to make it. Yep. I didn't have time for that. Yeah. And so all these organizations and these people and these groups of friends that typically lawyers have, most lawyers, they come from good families. They come from families that have money. They come from families that have influence. They come from the suburbs. They don't come from communities like mine. So this journey was kind of lonely in a sense because I'm almost no man's land because the people that are doing it like me, they from another community. And the people that where I'm from, they're not doing what I'm doing. Right. So you end up kind of isolating yourself up. My best friend, Michael Harris, who's still my best friend to this day, you know, he's somebody who was there with me no matter what along this journey. But outside of that, man, I pretty much kind of isolated myself because it was lonely at times. And even now it's different because, you know, some people, they'll say, you know, the people that don't know me, you think you're better than everybody else. Man, I never think I'm better than nobody else. Yeah. Man, I'm South Dallas. I tell people, one of the reasons why I'm always yelling South Dallas and people don't understand, I had somebody, I want to tell people I'm from there. Yes, I am from there. Yeah. I have people looking at me.
I got people depending on me. I got people looking up to me.
Yeah.
And they need to know I'm from where they're from, and I need them to know that they can do exactly what I'm doing, and they can do even more.
Yeah.
And that's just how I'm gonna rep. That's what I rep. I rep South Dallas because great things come out of South Dallas, and people need to understand that. That's why I love this community so much.
That's one of, you know, that's one of them. It's too true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like being from there, you know, and having like family on every point of there. You know what I mean? But also understanding the enrichedness of there and being able to see, you know, good things happening. You can look at Tabitha Wheeler right now. You know what I mean? You can look at yourself. You know, and this generation now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's actually making strides.
Yeah.
You know, you can look at Jay. You can look at myself. You know, you can look at Bruce Wayne.
Y'all turning corners. Y'all turning corners, man, and I'm happy. And that's why I try to tell people, I said, man, we turning corners. We the next. Like, it's up to us for our young people to have better. And I feel like, honestly, even that generation before us, some of it, not the grandparents, but some of the people in their generation right before us, they're not really investing into us like maybe they should.
Yeah.
And so what we have to do is not cry about it. We just got to go get it on our own and try to be an example for the next generation.
And that's us really. And one of the ways is I'm learning, man, to be a better investor into us. You know, we have to teach ourselves on how to support ourselves. You know, we have to do things like this and be able to, you know, uplift the next. You know what I mean? Give those roses to the next, you know, and do it openly.
Yeah.
You know, and be supportive openly. You know, man, a chain is not a chain without strong links.
Bingo. You know, it's funny. I was watching this video and he said, one guy said, hey, you made $5 million. And he said, no, 5 of us made $5 million. I said, huh? And it was talking about, like, there were some Jewish guys. And he said, yeah, we believe in, we don't pocket watch. We get a group of us and we go. And he said, you look at me, you think I made $5 million. He said, no, 5 of us made $5 million. I said, what?
Yeah.
And he said, we're not competing with each other.
Yeah.
We did this together so we all can live comfortably. And as a people, black people got to understand that they can do some of the same things, but be about business.
Yeah.
I don't expect any discounts because, you know, we're black. I want you to have the same amount of money coming from me for your service. And if I have to pay for your service, I'm going to pay for it. Right. And I'm going to gladly pay for it, and you'll pay for mine. And we'll send people to each other. Yeah. We got to keep that money circulated in our communities and then know how to stand on business. A lot of times we won't stand on business.
Yeah, and these is like, you know, I call them, you know, distorted teachings, you know, because when your way of life has always been trying to make it, we barely getting by. Oh man, we out here getting it. You know, all these terminologies you take on. You know, so you're always trying to find the best for less. Yeah. You know, you're always trying to, you know, get the hookup. You know what I mean? So you have to begin to turn those terminologies around. Yeah. You know, you have to really understand what support really means. Yeah. You know, mentalities. You have to understand that. You know, it's the mindsets that we have to begin to work on first. Yeah. But one of the biggest ways that we work on is that we exemplify it. We show it. We be you know, exploiters. Yeah. Of men doing those things in a manner that it uplifts. And you catch on over, you know, I hate saying time because it's unreal, you know, man, but in creative moments, in enough creative moments, you'll begin to see it, you know, it'll catch on. And you know what? We got to support each other. I always tell people, you know, Naru Witherspoon, my brother, who's always supported me, man, and even Kevin Kelly. They used to be law partners. They're no longer law partners, but those two brothers who I know, they're doing exceptionally well. Kevin owns True Kitchen. Naru Witherspoon has one of the greatest law firms in the state of Texas, African-American, my brother from another mother. But those two guys, man, we come from the same time frame, and I supported them, and I'm happy that they're having success. And, man, it just makes me smile. And, like, people don't understand, like, man, I'm happy that some of my peers are having the success that they're having. And I want all of us to have that same kind of success. Right. But I do business with folks who have success, and they do business with me. Right. And they support me, and I support them. Like, I'm supporting you. I want you. When I heard you were doing your show, because I used to have a show, I was like, man, that's perfect for him because you can just
you got some stories that everybody ain't got. You can give it to them raw. You got something different to the game.
Yeah.
Like some people say they were in the streets. Now you were really in the streets. There's no joke. Like so when you say something, I'm opening my ears.
Yeah.
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 And I think that was the turning point for myself to really be able to say, outside of, like a talent like playing sports, what was your gift? What's your gift? And for me to really see it for myself, and my gift was my experience.
Yeah.
I never forget Dr. Lady Jane in Austin, Jack Brown. They offered me to come, and do this panel. And man, I felt so out of place because on that panel it was nothing but doctors, nothing but, counselors in a field, like I knew nothing about, but they had me as one of the speakers. And by the time that it was over with, I was like, I belonged there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you had perspective.
A different perspective. It allowed all the titles, all the tags to go away, and to really be able to see people as just a human being.
Yeah.
And we all have the same feels, and we all go through things, you know what I mean? We all can learn from one another. But it was just at that moment, my experience of life was enough, you know what I mean, to be able to aid others. And so I took that with me, and I ran with it.
Yeah.
I ran with what it is I do know.
Yeah.
And I knew that was my strength. It wasn't, it's not, when you get out of feeling like you don't have what it takes, and what you're looking at is you feel that there's a lack about something. And
it's not. Your life experiences, you've been through things, you've experienced things for real. Like some people can go study some things in a class, now you lived it. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference between getting it in class and living it. And that's why I tell people, I treat practicing law like I'm finna go to jail. And they go like, what do you mean? Like I'm finna go to jail. Like if I don't work this out for the person, I feel like I'm going. Yeah. I feel like I'm finna go do that time they doing. And I have to do it that way. Yeah. But see, your mindset, you learned, your life experiences put you there. And when you thought you had nothing, your life experience gave you a bag of goodies that you can impart upon people. Like you got a bag of goodies everybody ain't got. Yeah. And I try to tell people all the time, it's from the experience. And you can take those experiences and be of service to the community. And that's what you're doing right now. Like a lot of people in the street right now watching you now saying, you know what? I need to get out these streets. Yeah. Because because these streets gonna eat me up. Yeah. And that's one thing I learned. And I sit back in Dixon, and I always tell people, there was this guy, I won't say his name, but I sit back and watched him, man. He went to jail like 3 times. He spent like 50, 60 grand on lawyers and another $50,000 bonding out. And he was working all night and working all day and hustling and worrying about the police and worrying about and then not getting sleep. And I was like, he's doing that, and then he lose all his money. He got to go get to these 2 guys, the bondsman and the lawyer. I said, I'm gonna go be the lawyer. Yeah. I'm not finna be on the other end of that.
Man, you know what? Matter of fact, before I do that, let's go to this next video. Then we come back. I got something I really want to ask you, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What that is? What that is?
Let's see you go.
Bad.
Let's see you go run it back. Let's see you go run it back.
You know the vibe. Live when we lit and we live. Woo! Hey, what the fuck, man? Look, man, we got orders to make, man. What y'all out here for? Hey, man, where your khakis at, man? You know you supposed to be in the dress code.
What you mean?
Where your khakis at? What y'all ass in cook, man? We need food, man. Come on, make the order, man. Really? Come on, man. Hey, bro, we on our break. What you talking about, man?
Break, man. Come on, you just got here, bro.
America want to see us live, not work. Look at me, America. Sean Cool is living. Get y'all ass in here and make these orders, man. Come on, man. Whoa. Come on, man. They're unprofessional, man. Come on. I got next on that diet, man.
Hold my sweat.
Tuck your shirt in. Yeah, get in there and cook them burgers, man. Come on in.
I would have hated Trigger A made it.
How we gonna do it, Trigger A? Yeah. Lit brothers, you know. Yeah.
Live and we lit and we live. Who the coldest? Sub-Zero fro, bitch, I'm frozen. Wait, let me strike a pose. You You looking at a worker, all you know this. Bitch, I'm reloaded, dodging these shots, and I'm dodging this salt. Bitch, you can't stop my routes. Bitch, you can't melt my frost. You an employee on my boss. Turn your drip into salt. Bitch, I'm cooler like Pooler. Turn the mic to a nice scoosh. Yeah, I been on a potion lately. They patiently wait, and I know that they hating on my cool motherfucker with my conversation. Cool shit out my mouth, call it condensation.
I'm on the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost. On the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost.
Hey, let me talk my shit. Your toilet bowl hoes, y'all can eat my shit. With a pound of gravy on it and a swig of piss. Clock your ass with some tissue, don't forget the rinse. You can call me Jack, break it down Titanic. Break it hard and squeeze, no time to panic. Fly out to the moon on the country Aladdin. I can't help it, I just do it, it's a badass habit. Big blunts rolled up and I feel fantastic. King Kong, ding dong, and your BM fanny. False teeth, out of mouth, smooth, talk your granny. Velveteen rub in the bedsheet fabric. I'm cold with the flow, this shit ain't funny. Kiss your boo with my purse, coochie still like honey. Now she wanna get me like shit this sunny. I ain't be got no money.
On the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost. On the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost. I'ma kill beat to my show, no Peter Rick shit like guys on fights in the city. Can't stand hoes, I'm focused, they can figures or fake ass bros coming out, they working with me, trying to make the bag fat like double D titties. Stacking money, so it be the opposite of minute. Keep me laughing like Long Beach Griffin. Give them like a workflow, let's get busy on the track. I be finished to hit it with finishers. Listeners looking like they caught the whip. It's in the business of vinegar. Missed it with it, no king shit jaws. Ripping, you getting served balls. If you say I don't go hard, I'm flipping birds. I'm here to put in work and get what I deserve. If you mess with progression, nigga, we can see you getting hurt. You hit the dirt, I'm looking, make it disturbed. Hoping lesson learned, don't fuck with the fire, you getting burned. On the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost. On the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost. On the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost. On the mic, putting in work like a boss. Words to the haters, have sauce, not salt. Triple homicide, I'm so raw. Bro, so cold, got the mic on frost.
When you light up, yeah, lights all over me.
All right, we back. If y'all just now tuning in, I have my special guest, Calvin D. Johnson, attorney at law, with me, man. I had said right before we had left, I had something I really wanted to ask you.
Yes,
because, man, not a lot of people in places like yours take the interest or take on as much as they do within their community which they're from. But you didn't only do that, you also had ran for District 7. And if a lot of people understand the districts, you know what I mean, District 7 is a district that covers over South Dallas, you know what I mean, in part of Pleasant Grove, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So my question is, man, what is it that you truly see, or what is it that you genuinely desire, you know what I mean, to see about South Dallas itself?
I want to see South Dallas grow, but grow in a positive manner. I don't want to see us taken advantage of. And one thing that I found out when I ran for District 7 is there is a group of people who want to take advantage of us. And some of them even look like us. And that's the hard part. They would look at me and they would go, why you doing this? And you run it out. I even had somebody look me up and look at who I had represented in the past and try to use that against me. You know, I tell people, listen, I'll be point blank. I remember when the car wash was going and humping and bumping, and Mr. Dale Davenport ran it. He had an issue with code, and he hired me as a young lawyer, 2 years as a lawyer. He came to my office and paid me some money to help represent his car wash way back in the day before it really became the problem that it had become. And, somebody threw that back up in my face later on. And I said, hey, look, that man came. He was part of the community then. He hired me. He gave me an opportunity to work for him and his family. And I worked for him for maybe 6-7 months, and that was it. But I try to tell people, man, I was raised by some OGs. L.A. Bedford, Lee Bilal, who owned the Forest Theater. He owned a lot of property in South Dallas, and his vision for South Dallas was for us to benefit off of it. in District 7, man, we are not benefiting. They wanted to do a PID, right, which is a public improvement district, which means they were going to tax us extra just to fix up South Dallas. Why we have to do that? We're the only part of the city that needs that growth. They've grown. Look at West Dallas right now. Yeah. Look at East Dallas. Look at North Dallas. We're the part that needs the growth. So they need to invest some money in us, and we shouldn't have to pay extra taxes just for them to do that.
Right.
And I'll say it. And there are people that hate me and won't support me because I'm saying it. But I don't care about that. I have to stand on who I am and what I'm talking about. And that's for real.
And being able to see that and knowing these things, man, you know, and understanding the fight that we have in that 75215 area code, and knowing the information that you know, what is it that you would tell the people that they need to be working on within themselves to save this community?
What they need to do, Queen City Neighborhood Association has started up a meeting. The Dixon Circle Neighborhood Association has started up meetings. The Mill City Community Association have started up meetings. And these homeowners associations have to start coming together. And they have to have meetings, and they need to figure out when they have people that are running for office, especially for city council, hey, they need to get behind one candidate. And they need to make sure that that candidate is going to do what he is elected to do. And they need to hold that candidate accountable. When we have offices, and District 7 is about to go through another election where probably 5 or 6 or 7 people are going to run again. You have to have somebody who has the know-how and that's going to be held accountable. See, if you go into a position like city council and you don't have any money, you don't have a business, then people can give you money to cause you to break and bend. They can never break or bend me. I make my own money. I have my own office. I'm never going to take any money to do something that is against the interests of the people of South Dallas. And you have to elect not me, but somebody who thinks like me, because if you don't, you're going to continue to get what you're getting. Right now, South Dallas is for sale. Mm-hmm. Look at all the houses. Look at people that have bought the land. Most of the people who own land in South Dallas right now don't live in South Dallas. Right. They're just waiting. They're waiting y'all out. They want to buy your houses. Then they want to fix it up. They want to fix it up after you leave, not while you're there. So you got to start thinking about it.
The crazy thing is they already starting an impotent program to where they already are offering people who do own their houses in South Dallas a chunk of money that's not worth nothing right now because of the economy so bad. Mm-hmm. We're really in a recession, but it's not being said. It hasn't been openly said, but you're in a recession. So trying to buy a house right now, you know what I mean? And they only offering you, oh, we'll give you $180,000 for your house. We'll give you $190,000 for your house. But then you got every house that's overpriced in South Dallas over $200,000.
Yeah, they're $200,000, $250,000, $300,000 houses. There's even $400,000 and $500,000 houses being built right now, and that's where this is headed.
Right.
You know, fortunately, as an attorney, I can afford to live a little higher than maybe most of my people in South Dallas, but I don't consider myself that. Hey, I just need to worry about me. I'm worried about you.
Exactly.
Because that community has a legacy. Somebody posted a picture of Mr. Backus up today on their Facebook page, the guy that ran Backus Cleaners. And I remember him calling me down to his office and say, young blood, come here, let me talk to you. He said, all us old guys around here, we happy to see you open your law office on MLK. Yeah. They were happy to see a young black man come back from South Dallas in the community, open my office there when it was there. And it taught me a lot about that community and about the community of businessmen and that community we have built. We have built stores. We've built houses. We've raised families in that community, and we shouldn't just be giving it up for nothing because it's going to become very, very valuable.
And the thing is, it's already valuable, but because it was never depicted as a high value place because of crime. But see, crime was something that was flushed in that area because crime is something that's controlled.
You know what I try to tell people, Train? People got to understand this, right? 5 years from now, do you know what will be the third largest metropolitan area in the United States? The Dallas-Fort Worth area. Will be bigger than, the only two places that will be bigger as a metro area will be New York and L.A. We'll be bigger than Chicago. People don't know that. We're already bigger than Houston as a metropolitan area. And in Dallas, the city itself, South Dallas is the area that's going to have the largest amount of growth in terms of real estate value, and the real estate values rising because it's so close to downtown Dallas.
Right.
And so people that own houses in South Dallas in those communities need to understand that they need to hold on to their stuff.
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, the reason why they don't want Calvin Johnson to win, because Calvin Johnson is going to tell you this. Calvin Johnson is not trying to surrender South Dallas. And so my whole deal is that if they want to come after me because of that, then so be it. because that's just who I am. I'm stand on that.
And that's something that really has to be said, because even me, as a person who fight for the community, and me try my best to aid, educate, and send people to places of resource, is all to strengthen you, because the stronger you are, the stronger the fight that you have, that you do not have to surrender.
Yeah,
you do not have to give up what you have passed on to you, you know what I mean, or even what you have bought in this time, you know what I mean. Just because it seems as though they want to offer me, think about it. The average house 4 years ago was topped out like at $50,000, $60,000 in South Dallas. So now think about what these people, mind think of, but they haven't been educated in finances. And then somebody come with this empty thing, they try to give you, $180,000.
I'm gonna give you an example. Hiawatha Williams, people know him from Olin Williams Chicken, right? Mm-hmm. When I worked for Lee Bilal, who was one of the, who owned the Forest Theater, people didn't know that he owned the Forest Theater. He owned it, but he taught me a lot. He used to patrol in the State Thomas Historical District. He was one of the city of Dallas' first 3 African American police officers. Most people didn't know that, but he was almost like a land baron. But the reason why I bring up the Williams Chicken family, they own some lots over in the State Thomas Historical District. I bought some property over there. I own a property over there right now. And there was a situation where they had a lot that I think that they paid maybe $17,000 for back in the 60s and late 50s, early 60s as a family. They sold a lot that they paid $17,000 for, I think for between $280,000 and $300,000 just 7-8 years ago. And it was a small plot of land where a guy built his condo up. And so they took a $17,000 piece of land and turned it into a $300,000 price tag and got it. And there's an old lady who has a house on the corner, and her house probably was bought for maybe $30,000 maybe 50 years ago. Right now her house is worth $1.2 million, and they actually tried to cheat her out of it. But people protested and made sure it didn't happen. Right. So I want y'all to think about that. You have to think about South Dallas in those terms. Right. Because that lady who paid that $50,000 for a house now has $1 million house right now. Right. 1 point, because people can build a set of condos and probably turn it into like $3 million worth of stuff. So they'll give her $1 million for it because it's a quick flip.
And I want y'all to be able to understand this. I could have came up on here and we could have talked about a whole bunch of legal stuff. But how would that really help you? Because if you talk about crime, you get crime. And you want to be able to have people in different places that really have a heart for, the community, have a heart for the people, and want to see them flourish, but do it in a way that where they stand, they still do it in a position that they can actually be able to help, aid, and give back. And this is a person who I know just naturally do that. I know he helped a lot of people. There's not my place or my business, to talk about. But it is my place and my business to talk about how he has, been a person who helped me to be able to make sure that I had opportunities, after every storm. So, that's important. And a lot of people don't know that. So when you do have people that's standing up for you, when you do have your so-called family, when you do have your so-called friends, your partners, whatever you want to call, you want to know how they really standing up for you. You want to know how they really go to bat for you. It's just not standing next to me, sitting next to me in a courtroom and just, talking for me.
And what you just said, too, is just when you say us standing up together, one of the things that I've had my hardest time with, I ain't gonna lie, it bothers me. There are people that don't even come from Dallas and not raised in South Dallas, don't even come from here. They can run for office and get all the support they need. But when one of us do it, we don't support each other. We don't get behind the person you grew up with, the person you can actually go talk to. People have to understand, if I ended up being your city council representative or if I run for something, you can actually come talk to me. And then I can't just ignore you because I knew you. I grew up with you. I either go to church with you, I go to the same barbershop, I go to the same eating places. I'm in the community. I've represented people. That's somebody that you have access to now that you didn't have access to before. And what we have to start doing is, instead of trying to hold each other down, we need to try to lift each other up, because people from this community know the inside. Like, I know the history of South Dallas. As you notice, as I'm talking about stories. I had OGs like Louis A. Bedford pass along knowledge, and I'm going to pass this piece of knowledge that people got to understand. The desegregation case that allowed black kids and white kids to go to school together. People don't understand how important Louis A. Bedford was. He was my mentor. Louis A. Bedford, there was 5 other attorneys that worked with Thurgood Marshall in the desegregation case. We had one of those guys in Dallas, Louis A. Bedford. Louis A. Bedford worked on the desegregation case with Thurgood Marshall. That's history.
Right.
That's big.
Right.
That's iconic. People that are from South Dallas, that have businesses in South Dallas, have done great, iconic things. But we have to lift each other up. We got to get rid of the crabs in the barrel mentality. Yeah. Because some people, when I ran, it was like, why are you running? And I'm like, you understand, I have to.
And the crazy thing is, man, I know it's so much about South Dallas history that, man, is trying to be, burned, taken away, that you don't know, from music to jazz, from politicians to city councils, principals, black-owned companies that at one point was all South Dallas. You know what I mean? These are things that they try not to show you. So if you don't see these things, then this is what you see.
Yeah.
So now you have so many generations that have only seen this, so this is their reality. But it's not reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what was actually before the desegregation.
Yeah.
That meant how this place actually looked and how this place actually thrived. And it even thrived being where, it was flooding land.
Somebody put up a picture at the corner of State and Worthington Street, and they put it up, and it was back in the day. And I looked at it, and it was like, it was a black business on that corner. Of course, it's Uptown's off McKinney now. And I was like, man, I own a piece of property right there. And I owned it because Mr. Bilal told me about it. And he said, get you something over here. He told me. And he passed that down. Right. See, we have to pass things down to our young people.
Right.
We have to pass things down to people and let them know, hey, look, hold on to this land. It's going to be worth something. Hold on to to this, invest in it. Pay your taxes. Make sure you hold on to it. Make sure you understand real estate before you take a price that's way below what you're supposed to be getting for it. Yeah. It's those type of things, and that history, like I said, Mr. Reese from Reese Record Shop, one of my greatest mentors. People don't understand the love that man showed me through his life. He sat me down one day and said, you know what? He stood on the corner. There was a bunch of stuff happening in the community. He said, back in the day, we ain't had that because the doctors lived here, the pharmacists lived here, the lawyers lived here. And if there was some foolishness going on in this corner, we stepped up and we stopped it. We have to take that mindset where we got to start buying in this community, living in the community, building different types of development for people of all different income levels can live in. And we got to step on the corner and stop the foolishness, and then take our youth and help and steer them in the right direction. Our young men, our young women, we have to steer them in the right direction.
Man, and that's true. And I'm going to tell you something, man. Whenever you're talking on levels like this, because we're getting ready to close out, you got to understand, whenever you're trying to build something, whenever you're trying to, make a transition, especially in communities, especially from a hood to a neighborhood to a community, you have to have particular things in place and on your side. You have to have attorneys on your side. You have to have officers on your side.
Yeah.
You have to have city officials on your side. You have to have your own in these places in order that you can become your own place to be able to thrive in. So we have to learn on how we have to work with each other and then place our own into these places and positions, or otherwise you're going to always see the outside come in and, may look like you, will never be you, and never treat you the same, nor allow you to be able to do the things that your community deserve from you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you for coming out, man.
Hey, man, I would love to do it. Anytime you ask me to do anything, I'm doing, man, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you're doing. The Transition Show really is perfect, the name of the transition, because you're transitioning. You have transitioned, and you're going to help others transition into having a better life because you have something to bring to the table, and you transition, and that's the main thing.
And I appreciate it. Let them know how they can get in contact with you, man, right before we close out.
You can Facebook me. I'm with Calvin Johnson, attorney Calvin D. Johnson. You can reach me on my website, theywon'tletmeout.com.
Hold on. We got a caller, man. Caller.
Yes, I'm trying to call in.
What's going on, caller?
Hey, what's going down?
What's up? This Jay?
Yes, sir. I had to get in on this.
That's on the draw.
Perfect timing, man. Perfect timing.
Hey, man, it is perfect timing.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to say, man, first off, I'm proud of you, little bro. I mean, you came a long way from when we was back and we were getting in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah.
Hey, Calvin, I appreciate you for always being there for me and my family and my associates and friends, man. I mean, you handled every case pretty much we done had.
Appreciate it, man. And you know what, man?
And I just want to give you your flowers now.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. You've always been solid with me and, just sitting down, talking to me about life and having our conversations and sitting around the barbershop, getting our haircut, talking. We go way back, people. We go back since we was knee-high to a grasshopper. So I try to tell people that's for real.
Man, I told Train, too. Train was like, because Train always be on me about voting. He said, man, did you go vote? I said, man, I seen Calvin up there when I was going to go vote for him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's just one of those things, man. I appreciate that you always support me. You ain't Train, man. Y'all always support me, and I'm going to support y'all. That's what we're here for.
Right.
Man, our tribe shall thrive, man. We brothers. We all brothers.
For sure.
Yeah, for real. Man, we're at the end, Jay, you know what I mean? Unless you're going to pay me that extra 50, to go for another hour.
Got him.
I tell him, bro, go give me some kind of way.
Got him.
Man, I love you, man. Appreciate you for calling in, bro. Hey, you guys.
Bro, I'm supporting.
Thank you, bro.
Take care, man.
And that's at the end of the show, man. Y'all tune in next week on another Sunday of the Transition Talk Show. And, man, again, Calvin D. Johnson, man, let them know how to get in contact with you.
You can Facebook. I'm with Calvin Johnson. You can reach me at theywon'tletmeout.com. Of course, theywon'tletmeout.com. Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. My office phone number is 214-565-5600. And my cell phone number, I give that out, too, like Mike Jones, 469-583-3663. You can contact me that way. Like I said, Calvin Johnson, Calvin D. Johnson, attorney-at-law, theywon'tletmeout.com.
All right, we gone, y'all.
Just look within yourself and trust. Everybody